So didn't have a meeting yesterday. There's supposed to be a Dolton Village meeting, I think. It's supposed to be the first and the third Monday of every month. But Dolton and Thornton, there's been so many lawsuits going on, just lawsuits flying back and forth. And like 𝗪𝗏𝗘𝗠𝗜𝗨 says, they're in court almost every single day, dicking around on something, right? Hey, are we going to have the meeting here? Going to have the meeting here? Where are we going to have the meeting? Too much security. Absolute craziness. So let's back up and let's take a peek at, this is where we left off. Tiffany Henyard sues Dolton Village trustees, Park District, over the controversial board meeting. Remember we had kind of those simultaneous board meetings and nobody could really figure out where people were at and what was going on. It was just, the whole thing was just ridiculous. Here's a quick synopsis. Let's watch this.
Trustees of holding an illegal meeting. In court documents, Henyard, along with trustees Andrew Holmes and Stanley Brown, are suing the village clerk, 3 trustees, the village administrator, and the Dolton Park District. The suit asks the judge to discredit anything that took place at Monday's meeting and any others that took place at the Park District.
So that was more of a complaint than a lawsuit. But what it comes down to is Dolton Mayor loses the push to force trustees to hold meetings at Village Hall. Let's go through that. Let's just run through that super quick because we'll get that part out of the way. And the one thing I want to focus on is something that's really interesting at the end. Can't remember if it's this article or the next article. But so the power struggle continues in Dolton after Mayor Tiffany Henyard appeared in court seeking to force the village board to hold meetings at Village Hall. She wants them held at Village Hall, and the Illinois Attorney General has said, you got to hold them where you can get enough people in that want to go to these meetings. Oh, and by the way, tiff, you can't create all that crazy security that basically blocks people, from their ability to attend these meetings. The dispute stems from 2 dueling meetings. Who has dueling meetings? I think it was WGN. WGN actually wrote an article, Dolton can't even agree where to meet. I don't know if you saw that one, but it's pretty funny. And it's so true. 2 dueling meetings at 2 different locations on October 7th. Henyard filed a lawsuit following those meetings against several trustees in the village board. So what we've got left is we've got Jason House and then the other, is it 4 trustees that have kind of been, they've all been against Tiffany Henyard. I think that's the number. Several trustees in the village board and the village's park district, because they're holding these meetings when they're not in the village hall, they're holding them in a park building, saying meetings should still be held at Village Hall. So they literally can't even agree on where their meetings are going to be. It just, talk about governmental function grinding down to an absolute halt. And that's because Tiffany Henyard has just done whatever she wants, hold things wherever she wants. And then if somebody holds a meeting, like the illegal meeting that she was claiming that she sued on here, that Jason House and co, they held, well, she busted in on that meeting, right? We saw that. We talked about that. We live streamed that. She busted in on that meeting and she literally got booed out of the room. Just what's going on here? Literally living in the down under, right? It's amazing. Henyard's lawsuit demanded that Village Hall be the primary place for conducting village business, but a Cook County Chancery judge ruled against her on Monday, yesterday. Meetings have to be held somewhere other than the village, just like the Attorney General said Attorney 𝗪𝗏𝗘𝗠𝗜𝗨, who represents a majority of trustees. I really like 𝗪𝗏𝗘𝗠𝗜𝗨. I think he does a great job as an attorney, breaking things down in a way that we can understand, where there isn't so much just absolute nonsense. When people speak and you're just like, what? In any given speech from Kamala Harris, residents had previously complained about barricades, street closures, and inadequate space at board meetings because Tiffany Henyard was making it hard for the village constituents to get to. Hey, Maybe if we block their access, they will not come. And she was right. And there's the Open Meetings Act is what the Attorney General from Illinois cited. He said, hey, you can't block these meetings. These are meetings for the people of the village. What are you doing? And Tiffany Henyard said, oh, we got to have a lot of security because people are after me. Meanwhile, Tiffany Henyard's got 4 cops chasing her around. Does she still have that? Anybody in Dolton? Does she still have like the 2 big SUVs and they just, cruise around P. Diddy style? I don't know. I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments. People of Dolton, they filed the complaint, not lawyers. This is about people of Dolton and trustees trying to make it right, Odelson said. They're just trying to get something going where they can get some, action moving forward. Maybe, I don't know, getting a budget together. I mean, does that seem weird? A little budget action. Henyard was in court with trustee Andrew Holmes, Uncle Drew, who was exonerated from his charges of sexual assault in Las Vegas. But, we're not going to worry about that. It was also part of the lawsuit. They did not speak, but their attorney did speak. The mayor has always been clear. I don't think this mayor has been clear on anything other than she is the mayor. She is the super mayor. She is the dictator of Dolton. Mayor, it's always been clear. The people of Dolton deserve to know where their business is being conducted. One meeting, one place. Yeah, but the attorney general said one meeting, other place. You need to go there. That is all we were asking for, said attorney Mac Solomon. The judge also rejected Henyard's request to void much of the business approved at that October 7th meeting. So Tiffany Henyard walked in, and before she got booed out, she literally said, oh yeah, and I'm vetoing this, and this. Basically everything that they had done in that meeting up until the time she just kind of busted on in. And Critical Smoker, the YouTuber I was watching his stream, he literally said, what the hell? Because she kind of just, barged in tiff style. And I mean, if you haven't watched one of those meetings, you hate to say it, but they are, number one, they're very entertaining. And number two, they're almost comical. And that's the sad part, is the constituents of Dolton, the constituents of Thornton, they deserve better. But there's a certain segment of the constituents, a lot of the senior citizens, they are just in love with Tiffany Henyard. And they'll even come online and they'll come on these live streams and go, I don't know what you're talking about. Tiff does a great job. They don't call her Tiff because that's a little derogatory, but just what we're doing. The judge also said he was concerned. This is the thing that I'm talking about here that I thought was very interesting from the meeting. So first, yep, you got to hold a meeting elsewhere where everybody can get into Open Meeting Act. Number two, judge rejects much of the business approved at October 7th was being overruled because Tiffany Henyard said it was an illegal meeting. But in the back of my mind, when I am watching Jason House run the meeting, I think he's great. If I lived in Dolton, I would vote for him in a heartbeat, just because I think he'd be a good mayor. Relative to the other options we seem to have that are running. I would vote for him. But when I watch him, in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, I know he is mayor pro tem, right? Which is when you put somebody in a position where your main mayor is just, incapacitated. She's off holding her own meeting of one, that kind of thing. So he's mayor pro tem, but that's only when the main mayor is basically, not available to do her duties. I'm watching him and I'm thinking, is that guy overstepping his boundaries a little bit? I mean, he's kind of running the village, but he's not the mayor, even though the mayor is available. She's alive and she's physically, she's literally in the building, busted in on this meeting. Is he overstepping boundaries? That was one of the things that I thought of. But, anything kind of goes in Dolton, right? So the judge also said he was concerned about Mayor Pro Tem Jason House overstepping his boundaries, saying that Henyard is the elected mayor and has the duty to preside over meetings. And you know what? When she did attend the meeting that the other trustees deemed to be legal because you could get all the people in that you wanted, you got a big enough room, when she did show up, when Tiffany Henyard did show up, Jason House just kind of handed the meeting over to her. So from that standpoint, that's where I was okay with it. Jason House kind of scooches over and he's sitting like this. Nobody wants to sit next to the super mayor because you don't know what she's going to say. Anything could happen, right? And she asked for, you could see her ask for the meeting agenda. She got the meeting agenda, and then she kind of went into her just saying a bunch of stuff. She talked for about 7 minutes, and then she got up and boop, left to jeers and people, basically saying bye-bye. Literally, you could hear people saying bye-bye. Man, I mean... and just prior to that, a number of the citizens had stood up. They were in chairs facing the super mayor, and they turned around with their backs to her. I mean, you have just got some real divisiveness going on here, right? The election, if Mayor Tiffany Henyard can make it to the election, which I believe is in April, it should be entertaining. She won that first election by 83%. Some crazy number. I mean, that is a shellacking. Who was she running against? Next village board meeting could be held at the Park District if the Park District board agrees. Big. They gotta. Everybody's got to agree, and the Park District is going to agree. They basically said, "Hey, hold it here in this bigger building, which is, I believe, about 0.7 miles away." Is that correct? I think it is. I've never been able to work out on the map because there's a bunch of different buildings that are labeled Village of Dolton official buildings, and I could never really figure it out. Let's take a look at WGN with Ben Bradley. Ben Bradley is the dude who broke that first interview where he's talking with Mayor Tiffany Henyard, and he's asking her, "Did you go to Vegas?" And she basically just looked at him and went, and he he said something to the effect of, "Are you going to answer the question?" And she said, "No comment. Next question." It was the weirdest interchange ever because she looked off to the side at somebody else to kind of get some advice of, do I answer this question? And Ben Bradley had just basically nailed her down on the fact that, yeah, she'd used taxpayer money for, trip to Vegas, and it hadn't gone well. And there's sexual assault charges out of it, not charges, but accusations. And that taxpayer money was, paid for a, fun time in Vegas, right? So here's Ben Bradley. Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard lost a battle to regain some control of the village meetings. Henyard filed a complaint. It was a lawsuit, complaint-ish. And she wants to move, after the meetings have been moved to the Dolton Park District. Again, that was to accommodate large and sometimes raucous crowds. So the other village hall doesn't have enough space. But Tiffany Henyard indicates that, but it's got the security there. Got to go through the metal detectors. And that's because, there's some absolute craziness that has gone on in these meetings where you don't know what's up. And at the end of, I think it was 2 meetings ago, at the end of that meeting, I thought there was going to be a throwdown in the end. There was a woman that looked like she was getting ready to go. It was go time, right? So an article goes, she was booed out of her way. Trustee says that the judge has sided with them and agreed that the meetings do not violate the Open Meetings Act. Henyard's attorney says the judge underscored the mayor's right to run the meetings. Okay. I didn't look at the actual case itself because it didn't seem like there was much to it. So this is kind of where we stand. So number one, moving forward, will they have a meeting? Where will the meeting be? And what will that look like? Because in the last few meetings, you've had Tiffany Henyard basically absent, not trying to run her own meeting where nobody's showing up to. And then you've got the other folks kind of doing their own thing. When are we going to get, full on meeting in the same space and have that go? That is the big question, right? That is the huge drama. So that's kind of where we sit. This live stream is a little bit of a shorter live stream, but there also hasn't been a ton of drama in Dolton. You just know, though, that some stuff is going on behind the scenes. So you've got all that going on. There's stuff brewing right now. You know it. So check back here on the regular, and thanks for coming to the live stream. This is a quick one, but it was also kind of just an update. Hey, this is where we sit, and we don't know where we're going to be moving forward to, but the drama continues. So make sure you subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for being here. We'll catch up soon. Bye for now.